Welcome to rSlash, Am I the Butthole, where a house guest sets OP's house on fire. Am I the butthole for pressing charges when my stepson took something my daughter inherited from her mom? I'm a 47-year-old guy, and I've been with my wife for 2 years. My wife has a 21-year-old son. I have a 14-year-old daughter from my previous marriage. My late wife passed away in 2014. She left a few things for our daughter, including a gold jewelry set. My late wife was devastated that she didn't get to gift the set to her daughter on her wedding day. I keep it in my closet because it's expensive and my daughter is too young to have it. I'll hopefully give it to her on her wedding day. Last week we were sitting in the kitchen when my stepson was hesitant to ask me something. We're on good terms, but we do have our fair share of arguments. He said that his fiancée wanted to take something from my closet, that she saw the jewelry set and she liked it very much. He asked if he could borrow it so his fiancée could wear it to her cousin's wedding. I found this unacceptable, and I told his fiancée that he had no business being in the bedroom and that the jewelry wasn't even mine, it's for my daughter. He asked me if my daughter would agree to let him borrow it if he talked to her. I told him not even to bring it up again. Then he got all pissed off and said things that I don't remember. Last Saturday when he and his fiancée were at the wedding, I discovered that the jewelry set was gone. I told my wife, and we looked all over the house. I called my stepson to tell him I was calling the police because I really thought someone stole the set. He said there was no need because he borrowed the jewelry and would return it after he got back from the wedding. I yelled at him and told him to come back with the jewelry right then. I kept calling him until 12 a.m. when he told me to stop calling and that he'd bring it in the morning. I couldn't sleep that night. I felt terrible. In the morning he showed up at 10 a.m. He didn't bring the jewelry and started saying that he forgot it. He would bring it the next day. At this point, it was clear that he had given it to his fiancée and he was just stalling. I got so mad that I told him that I'd be pressing charges if he didn't return the set today. We got into an argument, and my wife pointed out that his fiancée was the one who wanted the jewelry set, but he was the one who took it, and it's not even mine, it's my daughter's, which made it worse. Because I'm responsible for whatever happens to it. His grandparents berated me after I told them this and got mad and defended him when I said that I'd be pressing charges. He stole something, and he needs to be responsible for his actions. He didn't answer my most recent phone call, so I've given him one last chance and then it's over. I pressed charges today. They're saying that calling the police was extreme and cruel. They're all convincing me to back down. Am I the butthole for pressing charges? So first you set a very clear boundary. Then your stepson ignores your boundary and steals your jewelry. Then you give him very clear warnings to return the valuable jewelry or you'll press charges. Then your stepson refuses again to return the stolen jewelry. No, OP, you are not the butthole. You have given him every opportunity to do the right thing. Your stepson sounds like a douchebag and your stepson's family are all super toxic. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes, your stepson gets 4 out of 5 buttholes, and your stepson's family gets 3 out of 5 buttholes. You can't just steal valuable family heirlooms from a child. Am I the butthole for asking my brother's entire family to move out because my nephew set my bathroom on fire for a TikTok? I'm a 32-year-old woman. My 43-year-old brother, his wife, and their 2 kids, a 9-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy, have been staying with me for a little over 2 weeks because they lost their jobs due to coronavirus and were evicted. 4 people is obviously a large addition, but I didn't want them to be homeless and they assured me that it was only a temporary stay. 2 days ago, my nephew set my bathroom on fire for a TikTok. From what he told me after, there's some kind of trend where you draw a shape on your mirror with hairspray and then you light it on fire, and it's supposed to go out on its own without causing any real damage. Well, my nephew's fire spread onto a nearby stack of towels and got out of control. We all had to evacuate, but luckily I live relatively close to a fire station, so the damage wasn't that bad. My guest bathroom is scorched and will need repairs, but the rest of my home is okay. I think that my brother and sister-in-law have been wildly negligent to allow this to happen, especially considering the lighter my nephew used was my brother's, meaning he must have taken it from him at some point. I'm asking them to leave within the next week because I don't want to risk something of this nature happening again. They've apologized and asked me to reconsider because it was an accident, and no one was hurt in the end. They'd be homeless if I kicked them out now, and what about my niece who did nothing? I'm not going to charge them for the repairs because they flat out can't afford it, but I no longer feel safe living with them. OP, your brother's family is worried that they'll be homeless if you kick them out. What about you being homeless if your house burns down? Look, when someone comes to live at your house, there are certain rules you have to follow. I'm not exactly sure what rule number 1 is, but very, very high up in the list, maybe even on the number 1 slot, is don't burn the house down. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your brother 3 out of 5 buttholes, and I'm giving your nephew 4 out of 5 buttholes. Also, OP, could you at least share the TikTok? Because I'd love to see the panic on this kid's face as he realizes he's caught the house on fire. Am I the butthole for telling my estranged father that he and his wife can be grandparents to his other kids' future children? My parents divorced when I was 15 because my dad had been cheating on my mom with a coworker of hers. My younger brother was 13 and my sister was 12. I became estranged from him around that time. My siblings followed suit, my full siblings anyway. I have 2 half-siblings on my father's side who are older than me and my other siblings. They were jerks to us because we were angry that our dad hurt our mom. And they made it clear that if we didn't want our dad, they didn't want us. So ever since then, I've considered him my estranged father and not even my real dad. I'm now married and I have 2 little boys. I only see my father and his wife once every 3 years or so when there's a paternal family event of some kind. Last year there was a milestone birthday for my grandpa and throughout the day people went to go see him. When I was leaving, my father showed up and he saw that I had kids. After that, he tracked me down on social media and started saying how he and his wife would love to be grandparents and how his wife was unable to have kids, so no biological grandkids and all that stuff. I replied once and told him that he could ask his other kids if he could be their grandparent because he wasn't welcome in my life or the life of my kids. He responded several more times, but I just ignored him. He then decided to get my great aunt involved and say that my boys deserved to have more loving grandparents in their life and that I made his wife cry and I was insensitive. My reply was that she was insensitive to sleep with a married man with 3 kids, but apparently that wasn't a big deal. And it goes beyond that to how she treated my mom at work while the affair was still happening. This lady even got fired over it because she was bullying another colleague of my mom's too. Those 2 are not the type of people I want around my kids. So tell me, am I the butthole for what I said? No way, OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. A newborn child is basically a package deal with the parents. If you want to have a relationship with the kid, then that means you have to have a relationship with the parents. Your dad had years and years to make it up to you and try to get back in your life, but he didn't because he decided that you're not worth his time. So why should he be worth your time? The answer, clearly, is that he isn't. I'm giving your dad 4.5 out of 5 buttholes for being a deadbeat, cheating hypocrite. Am I the butthole for kicking my son and his wife out after they took my daughter's room? I'm a single mom of 2, Dale who's 22 and Kim who's 15. My late husband passed away when Kim was 10. It was too much because it's hard being a single mom. No one in my life has ever stood by me. Where I live, society tends to be harsh on single moms. I always felt so much stress with all the responsibilities and everyone expecting me to just give up. There were many times when I felt like a failure, and I never wanted to be seen as a failure in my kids' eyes. I want them to look up to me, learn from my experiences, and learn to stand by themselves and be strong. Kim is the apple of my eye. She went through so much. I tend to be a little overprotective of her. I once dated someone who was nice to me, but once I noticed how poorly he treated Kim, I told him to leave immediately. And I decided to focus on Kim. My son Dale and his wife are expecting a child. He's been unemployed for months, and they left their rental apartment and moved in with me and Kim temporarily. However, his wife started disrespecting Kim's privacy. She would walk into her room constantly, taking her things and ruining them. They brought boxes of baby stuff and stored them in Kim's room. I told Dale's wife to move the boxes to the storage room, but Dale made excuses that the stuff might get damaged. Dale and his wife talked about staying there a few more months, she's 8 months pregnant, till after the baby was a few months old. His wife suggested that my daughter move into my room and they take her room and turn it into a nursery. I said no, that is not up for discussion. Dale understood, but his wife didn't like it. Kim came to me saying Dale's wife is trying to convince her to give her room up to her nephew, and I told Dale's wife firmly to stop annoying Kim. Yesterday, I came home and found Dale moving Kim's stuff out of her room and replacing it with her baby's stuff. Kim was in the living room waiting for me. She was crying and I was livid. I saw Kim's room. Her bed, her favorite posters, her closet, and the graphic art left to her by her dad were all moved. I confronted Dale and his wife. Dale said that it was his wife's idea and she told him that she'll work it out with me later. I got into an argument with her. She said that Kim could take the storage room and I lashed out at her. I told him to leave immediately. They argued for an hour and then left. My mom and sister called me that evening asking how I could kick my own son out and told me to let them move back in. I refused, and now they're calling me a bad mom saying that I'm playing favorites. Dale's wife talked about putting the nursery together and taking pictures of it to share on a Facebook page for everyone to see. When Dale told me about that, that just made me more upset, to be honest. OP, your son and his wife are expecting you to accommodate their kids' best interests. But what they're forgetting is that you still have a kid of your own and you need to look out for her best interests. Your son is a full-grown adult, which means he's a guest in your home, so he needs to respect your rules. That's doubly true for his wife. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving him and his wife 3 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for embarrassing my influencer friend by intentionally letting her post a meme that made her look stupid? I feel kinda bad, but I have a friend who thinks of herself as a highly popular mom influencer, and she has a habit of taking other people's posts, memes, etc. and reposting them as her own. She even steals personal, heartfelt words from other bloggers and Instagrammers about their struggles with body image and depression and slightly changes them to repost as her own. She's grown a decent following with this and gets sponsored by brands for, quote, keeping it real. Honestly, I'll admit that part of me is likely jealous, so I'll own that. But mostly, I just think it's gross that she's lying and making up a whole personality that has people thinking she's something that she's not. Anyway, there's this challenge going around on social media called the Hidden Cat Challenge. And I thought it'd be funny to send her a photo of Monica's apartment from friends and say, I bet you can't find the cat in this photo. I figured she'd recognize it and laugh, but within a few minutes she posted it on all of her social media telling people this was her latest Airbnb and making up an elaborate backstory about a random cat that lived there and challenging people to find it. I messaged her asking why she would lie, and she just said that she needed content and no one would ever know. So I just kept my mouth shut and sat back to see what would happen. Obviously, people immediately began calling her out, and she tried to defend herself, but it wasn't long before she took it down and had to turn off comments on all of her social accounts. She's now telling me that I'm a butthole for letting her post it, and I may have cost her sponsorships and taken food out of her kid's mouth. Am I the butthole? I love this reply from Type 1 Error. Oh my god, that is hilarious. Encourage her to reopen her account and post inspirational quotes on making a comeback from her therapist, Dr. Fraser Crane. Not the butthole. Yeah, I agree, OP. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. Your friend kinda had it coming. She gets 2 out of 5 buttholes. That was rSlash and if you like this content, check out my Patreon where I publish extra episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.